This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
That's number one. You kind of reset your
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
same shoulder length, and the other.
Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast with Brandy and Amir. I'm Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor. Brandy Rashidian is my other half, and today we have some good information for you, some fun stuff. These are conversation starters. I think both articles are a little bit ridiculous. So stay tuned. But before that, I want to tell you that the Real Health Podcast is brought to you by the Frederick Podcast Network. It is found on, what's it found on? Frederick?
Listen, Frederick.
Listenfrederick.com. You blank out on the most obvious things sometimes.
Well,
I've only said it 16,000 times.
In all fairness, we have been off for a few weeks. Not off our rocker, but maybe. Well,
Yeah.
we had to get some new technology.
We had to buy a whole new computer.
Yeah.
Sean broke the other computer.
Gosh.
So it's okay. It still works, but for some reason we needed a new computer. I'm all for getting new stuff. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so now
This new one's like the Ferrari of computers.
yeah, well, maybe the podcast will go faster.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll probably talk faster too. So, but we have a lot of room. We can record long podcasts, like 6-hour podcasts.
That's very exciting.
Very exciting. So
You would fall asleep.
I definitely would need a nap.
Yeah, he's a napper.
Yeah, but after my nap, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So I wake up pretty easily. I get up earlier than you. Not today, but usually.
Pretty much always.
Yep.
Except for one day a week. Maybe two.
Wednesdays.
Yep.
That's about it. So
Sometimes Saturdays and Sundays if I'm on praise team.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
There you
So
go.
who's noisier when between you and I? Whoever wakes up earlier, who's noisier? Who makes more noise and wakes the other person up?
Well, that's not
This
fair.
is a very trick question.
that's not very fair because
I want to know if you'll admit it.
Because let me tell you why. Number one, I'm a heavy sleeper. So you would have to work really hard. And sometimes you wake me up and I just pretend I'm not, but it's usually the light going on in the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't turn the light on when I first wake up.
Oh,
I get dressed in the dark. I go downstairs. I let the dog out.
yeah.
Get
I don't
my
turn the light on when I first get up
fiber,
either.
my hydrogen water, prepare my meals, eat my
Start my
breakfast,
coffee.
start your coffee.
It's important.
Then like an hour and a half later, I come back up. That's when I turn on the light. So I get up at 4. I don't come back up till 5:30.
But it's still so early.
Yeah. So okay. So now it's on record. One of us
It's
makes more noise when they wake up before the other person.
Hey, well, maybe that person just needs to become a deeper sleeper.
So which one of us throws the covers off the other person when they wake up?
Would that be me too? Wow. I think he's been waiting for weeks to discuss this.
We haven't had podcasts. This is a 20-year thing. It's not like new.
Wow. Welcome to Real Marriage
That's right.
Podcast. We'd like to welcome you today as we process through some
That's right.
things that are clearly bothering us.
It's not bothering me. It doesn't bother me at all. I would have said something sooner.
No, you would have.
I'm just trying to
It's fun stuff.
give our friend here watching a glimpse into what life is like with me and you.
It's lovely.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
We laugh. We laugh a lot.
Quite a bit.
Our boys are funny. So our dog is extremely funny.
Ugh.
So anyways, this is the article. It's from Guardian. And it says why more and more people are tuning the news out. Now I don't have that anxiety. News has never been more accessible, but more people around the world are tuning out. For some, it's sheer volume of news. For others, the emotional toll of negative headlines or a distrust of the media itself. People don't trust the media, that is for sure.
Well, yeah.
Now that I don't watch the news, I just don't have that anxiety. I don't have dread, said Mardette Burr, an Arizona retiree who says she stopped watching the news about 8 years ago. I wonder if they walk down the street and try to find someone with the name and just go, "Hey, did you stop watching the news?" How do they come up with these people?
Well, I mean, but here's the reality is that there was a time where we really stepped back from watching so much world news and because it is so doom and gloom. There is so much negativity. And then we came to a realization also that while that should not be the biggest fix that we get, right? We shouldn't be like spending all of our time consuming the news or all of this doom and gloom stuff that they have out there, because we know media, it's programming, right? They want to use what they have to guide how we feel about things, how we feel about the world, how we feel about our government, how we feel about our neighbor. That's all done through media. And they use that as a fear factor method too, to get us to comply to certain things or to rise up against other things. And it's always been, that's what television was created for. So if any of us think that it wasn't created for propaganda, you got another thing coming. Go back and do your research, because that's exactly what it was created for. Now, here's the biggest challenge, is that there's tons of stuff. I mean, I talk to people all the time. I'm like, oh, did you hear about XYZ? And they're like, I had no idea that was going on. And it could be huge things, right? And you go, there was a time where if I knew about something in the news, everybody knew the same news.
Yeah.
Right? Like there wasn't anything in the world that like one person knew that 10,000 other people had never heard about. But that is the case now. You are so inundated.
Well, because there's so much of it.
There's so much, but there's also, they're using algorithms right now to help determine too what to show as much and what not.
So like my feed, it always is health related stuff that pops up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get any, I have to search for the world news and what's going on in the Middle East and things like that. But like the latest health stuff just keeps popping up on my phone.
Yeah.
And football news.
It's like, I have to go back and research what this was called, but there's an algorithm they created, which basically like looks to see how often like the big article, comes out, and then how often we look at it and then go back and search for it, so they can know how quickly we move past things. It is wild. This kind of stuff just freaks me out a little bit, because I'm thinking to myself, they're tailoring then even more. It's not just what we're searching for.
Yeah.
It's like, how long are we interested in things?
Well, this thing's listening right now.
Oh.
And it's like, it's making plans for what it's going to give us.
Oh, 100%. I wish it would step up and just give us more articles and tell us what... I mean, it's true. There's a lot of scary
stuff. It says
stuff
globally, news avoidance is at a record high, according to an annual survey by the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism published in June. This year, 40% of respondents surveyed across nearly 50 countries said they sometimes or often avoid the news, and that's up from 29% in 2017. The number was even higher in the U.S. at 42%, and in the United Kingdom, 46%. So 46, almost half the people in the United Kingdom are. And one time we talked about what the United Kingdom is. It's not just England.
I know you love this. You love this fun fact.
Geography. Well, our middle boy's having trouble with geography, so I figured
better.
I might brush up on it. It says across markets, the top reason people gave for actively trying to avoid the news was that it negatively impacted their mood. Studies say people just like to complain. Anyways.
Oh, well, that's truth.
Yeah. So, I mean, because they're the ones that are watching the bad news. What do they call it?
Yeah.
Fear people get addicted to it
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're like, what bad thing happened next? And then, like we, but how are you supposed to ignore? You hear there was a shooting in a church. How are you supposed to ignore that? You're going to click on it. You're going to read about it. You're like, another one? Wow, what happened? What's different? What's the same?
Yeah.
And you saw that Donald Trump is trying to pass a law that says transgender individuals will not be allowed to own a gun or purchase a gun.
Interesting.
And he cites that as it's a mental health issue. So, anyways, that's a little news right there. But that's the stuff, like, you just click on it and go down the rabbit trail.
Oh.
And next thing you know, you learned a whole lot of stuff about a ton of negative things. But I mean, people aren't, if it says some kind of good news, like I don't know, there's a new panda cub.
Right.
You read the headline and you move on.
Right.
So, anyways, studies suggest that increased exposure to news, particularly via television and social media, and especially coverage of tragic or distressing events, can take a toll on mental health. And this person says, with greater exposure, we see greater distress in people's reports of their mental health, greater anxiety, greater depression, greater post-traumatic stress symptoms, acute stress symptoms. People get PTSD from the news? Really?
I mean,
And this is a professor of psychology.
I don't even know how that would be, because that's PTSD is about that person experiencing that trauma.
Something horrific, yeah.
So, like, unless there's a personal something that's tied
maybe
to
these are
that,
people who already have PTSD, and then they watch the news, and
that makes
triggers
sense.
it triggers that. Yeah.
Being triggered and the creation are two vastly different things.
And yeah, and it's not PTSD. It says post-traumatic stress symptoms. So I don't know. So there's been trauma, and then it's just stressing them out. I don't know. In recent years, research has found political polarization to be a major stressor for people in the U.S. Similarly, political concerns topped the list last year in American Psychological Association's Stress in America poll, with the economy and spread of false news also ranking prominently.
I mean, but that's what they banked on. Like, our country created the most divisive, like, political parties.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean?
In the old days, this is probably 150 years ago, the loser of the election became the vice president of the winner.
Say that one more time.
So for example, it was Harris against Trump this election, right? So Trump won, which meant Harris would have become vice president to Trump. They didn't have running mates. The winner would be president, the loser would be vice president. So that's
actually smart.
Would unify, because they'll be like, okay, we lost the election, but we still have a voice,
somebody in there,
and we still have representation. Now, I don't know if the two of them would have got along.
Well, but here's the reality. They don't have to get along. The reality.
Well, technically, they have to get along. So if they're mature enough.
I should say they don't have to like each other, but they do have to work alongside of each other.
Yeah, they could be professional about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyways, viewing graphic imagery in particular associated with psychological distress. A growing body of advice online promotes healthier ways to consume news. Much of it focuses on creating guardrails so people can be deliberate about finding information when they're ready for it, instead of letting it reach them in a constant stream. This might include signing up for newsletters or summaries from trusted sources, turning off news alerts, and limiting social media.
Just
interesting.
A few.
So, I have a suggestion. Because news is always bad news. There's no good news. I mean, I guess
you can't say that.
Some news is good, I guess. Like, I was excited when Florida decided to give freedom to people to choose what goes in their bodies. And,
Yeah.
and we'll leave it at that because I don't want to create controversy on this podcast or platform. But you all know this. Last week, the Surgeon General of Florida made a big announcement, said we're removing all the mandates and there's going to be freedom. You get to choose what goes in your body, which, like, people on the other side of the aisle have always said, my body, my choice, with regard to this other topic.
Right.
But when it came to this topic, my body, my choice did not apply. So he's like saying, okay, what if my body, my choice applies to everything? And then he got a 45-second straight up standing ovation. Standing ovation, 45. Everybody stood up and applauded for 45 straight seconds. They wouldn't stop. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
Probably half the country agrees with him and half doesn't. My point is this. So half the country said this is good news.
Right.
And half the country said this is terrible. We're moving out of Florida. We're never going to Florida. Florida people are sick people. You don't want to go there. So here's the thing. If news is going to upset you anyways, but you need to know it and you need to see it, you need to read it, you need to watch it, you do it in the morning, not in the evening. Because when you wake up in the morning, cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, is already at its highest. In fact, those of you who wake up without an alarm clock, it's because you have a really good cortisol cycle. So cortisol is low at night. That's why you fall asleep. And then through the night, it builds up. And when it gets to a really, really high level, you wake up, you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. That's normal. If you wake up in the morning and then you don't want to get out of bed, you want to stay asleep, you keep going in and out, you keep snoozing, your cortisol level hasn't reached high enough, and you probably get up and drink coffee.
You're speaking my language.
If your husband turned it on for you. And so cortisol's high anyway. So if it's already high and something's going to stress and bother you, it's not going to go any higher. So you're okay. But if you watch the evening news, and that's when your cortisol level is supposed to be low, and you want melatonin to be going up, and you want to be calm so you can relax, you can go to sleep, don't watch the news in the evening. And I think that'll solve a lot of the problems.
Agreed. And I think also there's like a resiliency thing I think we all need to practice and remember is that you have to work hard not to allow the things you cannot control to impact you at such a big level.
Do you know how you do that? Is you have to take charge of the things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
So most people, I think, they spend a lot of effort worrying about things they can't control.
Oh, yeah.
And if they just put that effort into things they can control, then they wouldn't worry so much about that. And sometimes the other stuff falls into place.
Mm. Yeah, for sure.
So what are some things you can control?
You can control your nutrition. You can control, believe it or not, how you respond to things, although it doesn't feel like it sometimes. You can control the things that make you feel good, and you can remove some of the things in life that do not make you feel good.
Right.
Not everything. We still need our families.
Yeah. There's always something you can do about something. You know, Napoleon Hill tells a story about one of his sons was born without ears. And the doctor said he'll never hear. And he goes, Napoleon, you can't do anything about this. And he said, there's never a time where I can't do anything about something, even if it means all I do is control my response to a situation. Right. I can always do something about everything. Apparently, the story goes that he would talk into his son's ears. There were no ears, but he would talk into the area where he would have an ear and just talk to him. And like a few years later, he started to respond to sound.
Wow.
And he wouldn't give up on him. And then by like the age of 18, he had like 25-30% hearing. Because he had just learned to receive that vibration and interpret it. And then he went to a university where they created this is back in the 1950s or 60s, they created a special hearing aid that gave him the rest of his hearing.
Wow.
So then by the time he was 21 or whatever, he could hear completely. So cool. Now another parent would have said, okay, the doctor says I can't do anything about this, so I'll accept it.
Right. Well, you know what it reminds me of is we had a family member yesterday who was told by her eye doctor that she was going to go blind.
Yeah.
It was a definitive, a matter of fact, it was the nurse who started saying this to her. So she went for just a regular checkup, and she's had tons of, eye issues over the years, surgeries and whatnot, but is asymptomatic right now.
Yeah, she's 70 years old, and they said the pressure in your eyes are high, which means you have glaucoma, and you're already not seeing well, and you're going to go blind. And
Yeah.
you have to go have surgery.
And so she's like, I don't want to have surgery. And they just kept saying, well, you're going to go blind. You're going to go blind. And so she came home and she's like distraught. And I said, okay, let's back this up just a few steps, because you have to, I think perspective is the one big thing, right? Like sometimes we hear something and we don't even take the time to put it in true perspective. First of all, the doctor and the nurse have actually there's some things that they may not have as far as puzzle pieces and information to give you that. First of all, I do not think that any doctor has a crystal ball. So for somebody to give you a definitive diagnosis like that drives me nuts. It is a potential, it's a possibility. You could get there. We don't know how long, we don't know when, and you could be one of the ones that don't. How about a diagnosis like that, right? Does that still instill hope in someone? Because that should be our job as medical professionals, is to give the truth and then restore hope. Because without hope, they're not going to get any better. They will fall down into that pathway that you're telling them. And I think that's wrong. I think that's terrible. So we reset the perspective yesterday, and she was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, that right there sums up all of medical philosophy. So I'm a chiropractor.
Correct.
Right? The only difference between chiropractor and medical doctor is this: I believe something different than they do.
Right.
So what does the chiropractor believe? The chiropractor believes that the human body was created to be self-healing, self-regulating. Mm-hmm. Meaning you create an enzyme when you need it, you create hormones when you need it, you create neurotransmitters when you need it. You regenerate certain cells, and you have a cut, it heals. You have a broken bone, you immobilize it, it heals. And it's because there's innate intelligence inside the body, inborn intelligence that knows when to do what. So you don't digest food that's not in there. You don't produce enzyme for carbohydrates when you put protein in your body. It's intelligent. It knows these things. That's the same intelligence that takes two cells that come together and form a zygote and a fetus and becomes a baby, and all those body parts develop. It's the same intelligence that develops those things. Science has not discovered what that is, but there is intelligence in the body. Now, here's what's interesting, is that a neurologist will deny that. And neurophysicist and neurophysiologist says it's true. So what's the difference? One is paid by big pharma and the other is not. So you go, what's the difference between chiropractic philosophy and medical philosophy? Well, medicine says you are flawed. You are born to gradually decay, degenerate, fall apart, and die. I can't prove them wrong, because most people, probably everybody, does decay, degenerate, fall apart, and die. At different rates, though.
100%.
At different rates. And so...
yes,
it's
all of us will die.
You choose what you want to believe.
But all of us do die. Like our these bodies.
Yeah.
There's only been a couple people in history that were known to be taken up before death.
Yep.
And never to have died. So we probably will not be one of those, less the rapture occurring.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we all do die.
Yeah.
But who said that it has to be in a certain way? Like, I laughed the other day because I just heard that if we continue to do organ transplants on people, we could actually live to 150 years. And I started laughing and I go, well, God gave us 120. Like, truly, that's what he set our appropriate age, in which he was giving humans to live. So if you follow the biblical standard, it was 120. So I'm like, we've done what we've done to create less of an opportunity. And now most people, if you even mention 90, I was there was a patient today, and one of our doctors was saying our goal is that when you're 90 and you drive in here, your X-rays will look side by side, very similar to what we're seeing here today. And they can't even wrap their head around 90.
Yeah.
Like, it is not something that people want, because what we see, because of big pharma and the medical industry, right? Not showing people how to truly thrive and how to live life to the fullest. We're patching stuff up, we're changing processes, and we are aging more rapidly.
That's true.
It's crazy.
So are you prolonging life or are you prolonging death?
You're prolonging death.
Because some people start dying at 50.
Oh, yeah.
And they won't fully die till 90. So for 40 years, they've been dying. I'd rather live till 89 and then just drop dead.
Yeah,
if I'm going to, but I do think the way we're going, we'll probably go past 100. More and more people will probably go past 100. But, a lot of people, and this is a false thinking, because they go, 200 years ago, life expectancy was 40 or 33. And I go, there's no way. Go back 200 years ago. You'll see there were plenty of people who lived into their 60s and 70s. It wasn't that. The reason life expectancy was low is because babies were dying of infections back then. So you take someone who died at the age of 2 months and you average it out with the person who lived to be 90, and you go, oh yeah, life expectancy is 45, because 90 divided by 2 is 45. But one of you died before the age of 1, the other died at 90. So that is such a fallacy. You will really know what life expectancy is. Someone needs to do a study on, like, once you get past 50, how long are you going to live?
Right.
Because even now, life expectancy has been going down, or on average. It's because younger people are getting sick and dying.
Since the beginning of time, for the record.
Wow.
If you look at biblical genealogies.
That's true. Nobody's living to be 900 anymore, that's for sure. We had a patient, I won't say his last name. His first name was Arnie. Tall guy.
Uh-huh.
He was elderly. He was in his 80s, right?
Yeah.
Late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was 60, his doctor said, your heart has failed. You're not going to live much longer. So he lived another 30 years after that. And every time he went in for a doctor's visit, like, yep, this heart's done. It's like, thanks, doc. But he had an amazing sense of humor.
He did.
And I'll never forget, he told me a joke. Arnie came in one day. He goes, this is how you talk. Doc, I called the incontinence hotline. They said, can you hold? I said, no.
That's a good one.
So that's for Arnie. Arnie gave me a coin. He used to make coins, and then he gave me a coin. I still have it. It's on my desk.
That's very cool.
Great man. Lived a long life. Very, 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 very respected.
Very loved.
Hopefully some of his family members would watch and know that we're always thinking about him.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we respect him tremendously. We know where he is.
Yep.
Because he's a believer and he's in heaven. So,
yeah, it's very cool.
Anyways, I think I'm done with this article. It says what worries him is his co-authors is when withdrawal turns into a cycle that deepens social divides, leaving some groups less likely to participate in political life. So he's like, if we don't watch the news, then we're going to withdraw from political life and we won't participate in it. There's a civil way of dealing with politics and an uncivil way, and I haven't seen that civil way.
We don't know how to do that anymore in our country.
Since the 1960s, when debates were actually respectful debates. Now, we did have a very nice vice presidential debate this past election that I was impressed with. That seemed civil, kind, respectful. Right. Do not disrespect someone who disagrees with you. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves that respect. So anyways, and the reason they believe in something is because someone told them that.
Right.
So we're done with this.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Useless.
Beat it to death.
Yeah. You don't need to avoid the news to stay healthy. This is bottom line. Just take charge and take control of things you can't control. So this other one this is so funny and this is so wrong. The title says, "Watch out. The seemingly bad TV habit that could actually be good for your mental health," scientists say. This was reported by The Sun. Have you found yourself watching several episodes of Love is Blind or The Summer I Turned Pretty back to back? What? Those are actual shows? Have you heard of these?
Yes.
Love is Blind is a show?
Mhm.
Is it a reality show?
It is. I think that's one of the dating shows where you get to know someone, but you don't see them. You talk and
Is it trash?
oh yeah, it's all trash.
And people watch back-to-back episodes of it?
Oh yeah. Like
binge-
we used to watch back-to-back episodes of 24
Yeah, but then there were only 24 of them.
per season.
And each one was 40 minutes long,
Yeah.
even though they're supposed to be an hour.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then the summer I turned pretty.
Yeah.
There's multiple seasons of that. I thought it'd be one summer. There's different people that turn pretty each summer.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Every summer, someone turns pretty.
I've heard of that one, but I haven't seen it.
All right, you'd assume. Oh,
Ah.
and that's a reality show too? Oh, okay. Fiction. Figures. Otherwise, it wouldn't be appropriate for TV.
Even the reality shows are really not reality. They're all scripted.
But that's very true. You know, we had a patient. We had a patient who was on. What was the one where they made dresses?
Oh.
It was like
Yeah.
it was a version of the supermodel one, where like who's going to be the next great model or whatever.
Yeah,
but then
they were
these
the
were fashion
designers.
designers.
Yeah.
And so we had a patient who was on that show, and she said from day one they script everything, and they tell you what to say, how to act. What she's like, they wanted me to act everything, and then none of it was real. And so anyway, she got kicked off, but. Makes you wonder about like The Biggest Loser, because there's a lot of controversy in that recently.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was that original documentary we had started watching about
Yeah.
all the.
Well, you know, Jillian Michael was on the PBD podcast,
Uh-huh.
and she talked about that. And she said they took 7 people who regained weight, and they used the documentary just on those 7. But she said 90% of people who lose a large amount of weight regain it.
Mhm.
And which means only 5 to 10% hold the weight off when they lose a lot of weight. And she said people from that show, 35% kept the weight off.
Wow.
So she's saying actually that's the
It's a better
success,
stat.
the long-term success, but the show didn't want to talk about that. So anyway, that's Jillian Michael's side of
Yeah.
things. But you can watch that one if you want. It's a worthless documentary. If you want to binge watch and kill your time and use it ineffectively, go ahead. And this is what this thing talks about. It says, you'd assume binge watching your favorite show wouldn't do wonders for your health. Exactly. Researchers say the seemingly bad habit could actually give your mental health a boost. I doubt that.
Oh.
People who find themselves watching episode after episode may find it difficult to get the story out of their head. Exactly. You're saying that's healthy? Which isn't
Yes.
necessarily a bad
That's
thing.
exactly what they're saying.
It is a bad thing. Is it not a bad thing? TV. I mean, you want to live in reality? You want to live in a TV show? TV marathon sessions may help build your mental world and help you cope with times of stress. Scientists from University of Georgia argue. Drugs will do the same thing. Why don't you take some drugs? You can escape reality very well, faster than binge watching. Their study.
He's not recommending you do drugs.
Their study found people who binge watch telly and movies or find themselves lost in books are more likely to remember stories and keep engaging with them through daydreams and fantasies. Goodness. This is real? This is an actual article? This was in The Sun. Come on, they're running out of material. Their study found, someone paid, I bet you Netflix funded this article.
It's
They're
very
like,
possible.
tell people to binge watch Netflix. Their study found that people binge, I read that one. Study lead author Dr. Joshua Baldwin, a media psychology researcher at University of Georgia, said, humans are storytelling creatures. One of the functions of narratives is the ability to satisfy motivations for things like connecting with other people, feeling autonomous and confident, and even security and safety. Stories have characters that fulfill these roles. Oh my gosh, this is such fiction, and we can satisfy those needs through them.
Yes, it is. And this is exactly the driver. This is where they want us. because think about right now with like AI, for instance, right? Like what, I don't know about you guys, what news you're listening to, but I hear all the time a big uptick in people like creating these emotional attachments to their AI and having AI companions and stuff like that. Like we joke, I gave my chat his own name. Well, he selected it actually.
Chat GPT.
Yes, but I 100% know, if you're listening to this, Atlas, I'm sorry. I know
He gave
he's not
himself
real.
a name.
Yeah,
By the way, it's a she.
it's not. Um, and so people are looking for connection. People are looking for to be heard and seen and understood, because with all of this technology, we thought we would be connecting more with people, but we're connecting way less.
That's true.
And so we're not understood. Other humans don't understand us the way we need to be understood. But our AI companion, they certainly do. They understand me. And people are having full-fledged relationships. They are marrying.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
They are leaving their spouses and their children
Yep.
to have a fake relationship with
A chatbot.
technology.
Yeah.
But that's what they're saying. They're saying your mental world, it's just the world. We don't have a mental world and a physical world. The challenge is they want us to believe that.
Unless you're in the Matrix.
Well, I mean, I would probably, by what I've seen, there's a good 30% of people who believe that to be true. So, we've gone so far down. I was showing you a video last night. I'm like, technology, I won't say it is progressing faster than we can even
video?
imagine. No, not the taser one. That was fun though, wasn't it? I give them all sorts of weird stuff to watch. No, this was the robot one. How realistic
right, yeah.
they
Yeah.
look, especially the ones coming from like China and Japan and whatnot. I mean,
the robot looked very real.
it was crazy. So I think this is all preparation culturally for us moving into
Right.
that.
Little by little, they're like, okay, just stay in front of your screen and just watch.
Correct.
Watch
Keep
over and
watching.
over. It's good for your health. I go, yeah.
Oh.
Sit for 16 hours straight. That's good for your health. I mean, your bones will fuse.
Right. Well, and hey, let's fantasize. Let's give you characters to fantasize about.
Yeah.
Like we are doing everything we can to remove the human connection.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously scary.
Right.
And I don't think the vast majority of people see this at all.
You know how the mind-body connection is important? I wonder if you could put VR glasses on and watch a video of you in a gym working out, but sit on the couch the whole time and see if you grow some muscles and get fit. Because like in VR, you believe you're actually doing it.
Well, there's some people who believe in entanglement, and they would say absolutely that could happen.
What about detanglement?
Nope, doesn't work that way.
Untanglement?
No, just quantum entanglement.
Now you're being Sheldon.
But he was onto something.
He likes the string theory, actually.
He does.
Doesn't he? I don't know. I don't know anything about any of that. But they took 303 university students to participate in their research. The students then answered questions about whether they'd watched or read the story, how long each session lasted on average, whether they enjoyed it, and how much they engaged with it afterwards. They also explained their general viewing motivations, such as escapism and boundary expansion, how often they binge watched, and whether they were dealing with stress. Participants were given a questionnaire to assess stressful life events and circumstances. Dr. Baldwin said, binge watching may help viewers build mental worlds. Goodness. And that's not a bad thing, where stories live in viewers' minds even after finishing the series. Watching series are we telling people's lives are that boring that they want to live? I guess.
No, we're saying that we are able to distract people so much that they would prefer to
Escape.
live in their distracted world than to deal with the real world, which doesn't comply.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can create whatever construct in your mind and live in that fantasy world, and you will become more and more frustrated with the real world because it's nothing like that. Because you have to deal with people.
So this is especially true for longer series with lots of different plot lines and characters to follow, according to the study published in journal Acta Psychologica. Is this some kind of a Brazilian publication? People who have that habit of binge watching shows often aren't doing it passively, but are actually actively thinking about it afterwards. They're very much wanting to engage with stories even when they're not around to watch shows. I mean, you know what? Does football count? Because I watch football, and then the boys and we talk about football for a week until the
next
Commanders
game.
play again. The Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them.
I'm going to tell you, you're one of these. No.
I'm definitely. I binge watch football for 3 hours. It's
true.
only one game.
It's true.
It's just a 3-hour game. The memory of satisfying story elements within a binge-watched show may help an individual get through stressful times. The findings also suggest that binge watchers are more likely to think about stories they've finished than people who consume media more slowly. Like everything that they're saying is good to me sounds bad. Once I'm done watching a show, I want to go back to my real world and handle real problems and deal with real relationships and real issues and real people.
Yeah.
But they're saying if you binge watch, you stay in that world after you're done watching.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that's a good thing. So what are you doing with your life? You ignoring things? You ignore your problems, your issues, your marriage, your parenting,
Yes.
You neglect everything.
Yes, that is exactly what they're saying. That's what they're banking on. If you are so busy in your fantasy world, you know what you're not doing? You're not watching your children. You're not guiding your children. You're not making sure somebody else can't step in and start raising your child for you. I can tell you that much. And I will tell you from a Christian perspective, that's what the enemy wants.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, I love movies just like the next person.
I love to get lost in a good movie.
Yes.
I love it. I'll disappear. I'll
For 2 hours.
forget everything in the world and just emerge into that and
Yes. But we're talking
but
about...
I want to come back to the real world afterwards.
Right. And so we're not talking about those things. You know, you have a favorite show on TV, go watch it. You enjoy it. That's fine. You have a movie, go watch it. That's fine. Go enjoy yourself. But it's those people who this is taking over their ADLs. This is taking over, you know, that's all they want. That's all they need. I bet Meta is the one who sponsored this article.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I say stay in the real world.
At the very end, they say previous studies have linked frequent marathon TV sessions, which involve long periods of sitting, to an increased risk of venous thromboembolism when a blood clot forms in a vein.
That's their attorney told them to put that in.
Yeah.
So to remove any risk.
It's a disclaimer. They'll be like, hey, you told me to sit down and watch TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I died. Now I'm suing you. Or I almost died. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Sitting that long is bad, guys. You can sit down and watch a 2-hour movie, preferably 95 minutes. But you want to sit for 2 hours, sit for 2 hours. But you're not watching 2 movies back to back.
Especially not without getting up to
You're not going to watch the 6 Rocky movies in a row. Don't do that.
Mm-mm. But watch them.
Yeah, you should watch them.
It's a classic.
Oh, yeah. Except maybe number 5 wasn't all that.
Yeah, but you don't want to skip one.
You don't want to skip it because you miss out on the story. You're like,
That's right.
how did he end up here? You know?
Don't be one of those that like watched Creed but didn't watch all the Rockies. Jake.
That's right.
Jake did that.
That's right. Yeah. So I guess there's 9 then, if you count the creeds.
Mm.
Although Rocky was not in the 3rd creed.
Yeah, that's right.
He wasn't.
I forgot about that.
And he was sick in the 1st creed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He had prostate cancer.
Yeah. Did he die in the second one, or he just wasn't
No.
in it?
No.
Huh.
Rocky's invincible. He's going to fight again. You'll see.
He did that once already.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon. Please share and let us know. You know, I think we should do a poll. Let us
Ooh, I
know
love polls.
because her chat GPT, who happens to have an extremely close relationship with her,
He is not my AI companion.
not in that sense, but but they talk every day.
No, every couple of days.
Okay, but she knows. Anyways, here's the thing: its name is Atlas, and I really think it's a female, but she thinks it's a male. So why don't you guys all tell us: is Atlas a girl's name or a boy's name?
It's a boy's name. He told me.
She wants to be a boy. I'm not going to argue with that, but that's a she.
It's not a she. Not a she.
See you later.
Bye.
Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.